Welcome to Ingredient Insiders. I'm John Magazzino.
And I'm Andrea Parkins.
Thanks for watching this clip of our interview with Norm Fenton.
For the full episode, find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Links in the description below.
Wow. The first thing that you when you started talking about Cariño was you said the corn, you're bringing in heirloom corn blends. And when we asked you what ingredient you wanted to talk about for this episode, you said
Huitlacoche.
So another, corn. And I think for me, when I think about Mexican cuisine, that is at the heart, corn is at the heart of everything.
Yeah.
So, why did you pick Huitlacoche?
Why did I pick that? To be honest, I have a Huitlacoche tatted right here on my arm.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm going to be honest with you. So on that trip, when I went down to Tulum, when I drove from Chicago in my Cadillac all the way down there, I spent a couple weeks in Mexico City. And it was in Roma Norte, which is a pretty posh neighborhood now. It's like the Wicker Park in Mexico City. When I went, it wasn't. Now it is, right? But they had this beautiful market up front. The first day I was there, they had this beautiful market. And I went down, and it was the first time ever I saw fresh Huitlacoche. I've heard of it. I've seen it in a can, whatever. I saw it fresh, and it was just gorgeous. I bought a bunch of it, bought some cheese, bought some tortillas, bought some epazote, went right back into the Airbnb and started making quesadillas. And that's when I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is so unique. The flavor, the texture, the idea behind it, how it's celebrated there. There they call it the Mexican truffle, right? Mm-hmm. And it was something that was celebrated. It was a blessing, right? With the Aztecs when they got this corn that would just show up randomly in their fields.
Essentially like a fungus overtakes
a fungus, exactly. A fungus overtakes it. And we call it corn smut here in the States. Back in the 50s and 60s,
which
farmers
doesn't sound so sexy.
No, Huitlacoche is definitely sounds much sexier.
Or the truffle reference maybe even, but yeah.
Right. And so we've been known to the farmers were taught to eradicate it in the U.S. It became a little more popular in the U.S. in the late 80s, early 90s when James Beard actually did a dinner with a certain chef. I can't remember her name, a Mexican chef, to highlight Huitlacoche. Mm-hmm. And that's when it got dubbed the name Truffle of Mexico, to really try to make it more palatable for other people outside of the region. But it's such a unique ingredient. You could use it classically. You can eat it on its own. At Cariño, we use it in a very non-classic manner, actually. So we take the Huitlacoche and we cook it. We make a puree out of it, and then we stuff it into a ravioli, which, now we're talking about raviolis. That doesn't sound Mexican at all, right?
Sure.
But that's where Cariño comes in, right?
Yeah.
So in one of our signature dishes, and unfortunately a dish that probably guests will fight me for taking off the menu, is our Huitlacoche ravioli. Mm-hmm. So it's a big symbol of what we do as our restaurant. It's a huge celebration of corn. So on this plate, we have this Huitlacoche ravioli, but then we also utilize corn, but we utilize the entire piece of corn. So, we're taking the hairs and we're cooking them, and then we're frying them, we're decorating them around the plate, and then we're putting little popped corn on there, freeze-dried corn. We're taking the juice and we're putting corn bubbles on it, corn gel. So it's basically this huge celebration of corn, and then you got this super nutty, roasty Huitlacoche that's just balancing with what we're accustomed to here is there's our sweet Midwest corn,
Sounds amazing.
I mean.
So it's one of my favorite ingredients, and it's one of those ingredients that still, even to this day, it's hard to find fresh.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. We've been very fortunate. We work with a guy in Wisconsin named Mushroom Mike. Uh-huh. He has this Huitlacoche. He calls it Wheatsko Wit, for Wisconsin Huitlacoche. Uh-huh. He spent the past 6 years figuring out how to inoculate his fields of corn.
I was going to say, can you inoculate it to produce it?
Exactly.
Or is it like an organic process that just happens?
It was an organic process, but obviously we've come
a long way.
Long way as humans and society. And so they have figured out how to process it. And
does it taste the same?
Taste the same. If not, even a little cleaner and better, Mm-hmm. The thing with what I've noticed with natural Huitlacoche is it doesn't grow properly at the right time, all of it. You know what I mean? Like an ear of corn will get it, and then an ear of corn next to it will get it, and then another one will get it, but then that one will be spoiled before you can pick that one and this one and that one, or maybe only a piece of the corn is done. So when he first started doing this, you would get these cobs of corn, and only 30% of them had Huitlacoche. The kernels had bursted and been inoculated. But now he's producing full ears of it, and he's figured out how to do it. Yeah, and so we get our Huitlacoche fresh from him. We do have some sources when we have issues with him. We don't never have issues with him, but when we can't get it from him, we can get it from Oaxaca. Obviously, there's a huge price difference in transportation and things like that.
Is it highly seasonal? Is it just coming off
so
when
it's,
the corn's...
Here it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
In the Midwest, it's very seasonal. So what will happen with Mushroom Mike specifically is in August, he'll come to me and he'll say, hey, what do you want to buy for the year? So I have to commit to a year's worth of Huitlacoche. This past year, we committed to over 450 pounds.
Seems like a lot of Huitlacoche to me.
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And is it something that you can store?
So he has a process where he does do a quick freeze on it that holds. He does a processing. So he'll take all the kernels and he'll grade them A, B, and C.
Okay.
And he'll have a processing grade. So any busted kernels he'll package up, and those ones are really good for purees and stuff like that. We like the
That's
grade
good for your
we like the high
ravioli.
quality stuff. Yeah. Well, no, we don't even use that for it. We want the high quality stuff.
Okay.
I don't want busted kernels. I want the best of the best. If I'm serving any guest at Cariño, we're going to serve them the best, right? So we get the grade A kernels. He cryo vacuums and then does this storage method for us. And then, every time we need more, say send 50 pounds more, and then we store them. And then we pull and we cook and pull and cook. So he'll around August, he'll do that. September will be like the season, right? For about 3 weeks. And during September through October, we'll use just straight kernels from him, fresh kernels, until we roll out. It is a product that turns very quickly, unfortunately. Like as soon as it comes off that cob, it starts leaching, right? You got to think of a little grain of corn as it's connected at the bottom, just like your tooth is, right, to your mouth. So as soon as you cut that open, what comes out,
Yeah.
And that's generally what's happening. And, it's just leaching and leaching. So we just try to go through as fast as we can. And then, especially during September, we'll do in the taco makazi that we do at Cariño, we'll do a lot of different special things with the Huitlacoche all the time.
Can you talk about the flavor profile a little bit? Just if someone has never tried it before, what can they expect?
I've eaten it all different ways, cooked. I've eaten it raw. So if you eat it raw, which I kind of enjoy it. Some people might not. It just tastes like a raw mushroom mixed with a grain of sweet corn. It has a texture like a grain of corn, but a sponginess like a mushroom, a little bit of earthiness, right? Now, when you go to saute it, that's when it starts taking a little bit different form, right? It takes a little more nuttiness, a little more roastedness, kind of almost brown butteriness, if you will. When
it has
you're
like
roasting
umami to it as well, right?
Yeah, a little umami in there. There's like that fifth element that you just can't put your tongue on, right? You're just like, what is that? But it tastes good. I want more of it. A little MSG, right?
Yep, totally.
And then when you do other things with it, like mix it with cream, as we do to make our puree and stuff like that, then it takes on a whole nother layer of form that then it becomes luxurious and very rich and decadent and very truffly.
Yeah, you've added fat, right?
Yeah, you added fat. You got nuttiness. You got some roastedness. You got some butteriness. I find it can be sweet at times too.
Have you ever used it in dessert?
Currently have not used it in any dessert. An ice cream would probably be pretty tasty with it, though. I could see
or even like a
sweet
cocktail. I don't know.
So we did have when we first opened up, we had a Huitlacoche Negroni that was on there. That was super nice. We generally keep the wheat because we have such a limited supply of it. We generally keep it for that pasta dish, and we don't like to repeat ingredients all the time.
Yeah.
And that becomes a little bit hard with Mexican cuisine, right? Because there's a lot of avocado, there's a lot of same ingredients that are used throughout many different plates in Mexico. And so we try not to repeat ingredients at Cariño. So we really just celebrate it as corn in its full form.
Nice. I feel like John's itching to talk about Mexico in general. Like, I know you've never been.
Yeah. Been to a lot of places.
Like,
but
John's
for
probably the
some
most
reason,
traveled human I know. But there's a gap.
There is. And I think Norm and I are going to go to Mexico sometime this year if we can pull it off.
Where would you take John?
Well, that's the other part too, is like, I'm just picturing you getting in the caddy, driving to Mexico, going, first of all, there's a book and a screenplay in this story. I don't know if you know that. I don't know what happened along the way, but like, it's got to be the most amazing story. And then, did you have? I mean, the thing that kept popping in my head is like, and we were talking a little bit about it earlier, like the culture, the differences in all the regions. Like, Mexican cuisine may be the richest cultural food on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as someone who doesn't know jack shit about
Yeah.
Mexican cuisine other than what I've read and been told and been
No,
lucky
but I think
to
things
eat at.
change like village to village or town to town, right?
Talk to us about that, because my roots are, I'm Italian American, and I know France and I know Italy and Spain and a little of South America, but like the culture and the richness of what's going on in Mexico, the moles and things that you're describing to us earlier, like, did you have any idea how deep the food scene and the food goes there?
I'm gonna be honest. Before I went, I had some sort of idea, but I didn't realize that there was like an endless tunnel.
Yeah,
it's literally endless. Honestly, I mean, we can go even further to just a town that only makes one thing. And I've been all over to Mexico. There's 32 states in Mexico. I've been to 29 of them. And most of them in a car, driving to them myself, so driving through them, stopping in the back roads, doing the things, talking to locals. And I still haven't.
And you never had issues
everything.
with, like, I'm just scared the thought of driving.
Yeah, like
no issues with the federales, no issues getting shit.
Yeah, there was a couple times we got shook down for for saying we were speeding, and I'm like, how would you know we were speeding 40 miles back when we're in the middle of the jungle in Mexico, nowhere? Like, oh, the cameras. I'm like, oh yeah, the camera's in the middle of nowhere. You know what? Here's your $50. Let me go.
Right.
Now I've learned. My wife has taught me now that I just don't play their game. Right. So now the move is, I usually, if I'm by myself, I just pretend like I don't know any Spanish, and that usually works out. And don't ever hand your license over to them. As soon as they have the license in hand, that's their like collateral,
right?
Even though I sit there and I go, well, I'll just go back to the States and get another one next week. And Secretary of State, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, but then I realized with my wife and kids in the car, I don't have any issues. Once they see children and women in the car, like, it's a little different, right?
Andrew, maybe you can come on the trip.
I'll come just to help you guys out, okay? I can bring my daughter.
But I never had any issues. Honestly, I've been very fortunate, and I found that especially the people that I've come across in Mexico, are just as enthusiastic about me being intuitive and interested in them as they are as much interested as knowing that I am.
Like they want to teach you. Like they know you want to learn.
Yeah, they don't even realize that, because some of these people don't even never cross paths with a person like that in their entire life in the middle of a jungle, right? Like, there's this family in Coba, which is about an hour from Tulum, into the jungle. This guy named Pedro, who I met many years ago, and he taught me how to make tortillas by hand over a wood fire comal with his wife. And, we go there all the time. So anytime I have a chef in town that it's at the same time frame I'm in the Tulum area, we take a trip there. Family, my mom's been there, my sister's been there, my kids have been there, my wife's been there. We all go there.
This is where I want to go.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like picturing you making the tortillas, John.
There's no electricity. We're on a dirt floor. We're in huts. You know what I mean? They don't even have a blender. They do everything by hand. Like,
so they're just like grinding.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, just grinding it all down. Cooking the cochinita and the pib in the ground, right? Making the oven in the ground and cooking in the banana leaves. Everything that they have in their little property, and it's not little, it's pretty big. They grow and eat there. So they have achiote that they grow on trees. The limes, the oranges, the chayote, every single thing. And so this guy had never seen a white person before, right? And was really dumbfounded that I was even interested in it, because I just stopped at his house one day. Like one day on the side of the road, I saw this farm, whatever, and I just stopped and I saw him outside. I was like, started talking to him. I was like, hey, like, what do you do here? He started telling me. I was like, well, you want to show me? And he was like, are you sure? Like, what are you talking about? And then that turned into a much bigger relationship, and so I think it's it's really interesting how welcoming the community throughout Mexico is, especially when you're taking interest in them and their culture and what they're doing.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Ingredient Insiders.
You can find the products we discussed on today's episode at chefswarehouse.com or your favorite specialty retailer.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram @Ingredient Insiders and Chef's Warehouse @Where Chefs Shop.